Hello everyone, my name is Junaid Ashraf. I am the founder of The Melting Scot, an online platform created to showcase the achievements of ethnic minority people living within Scotland. Today I am excited to have with me Nosheen from the John Smith Centre to discuss the Minority Ethnic Emerging Leadership Programme that's being launched soon. So Nosheen, fantastic to have you here. Could you explain to us what the John Smith Centre is and what's this project that's going to be launched soon?
Thanks, Junaid, for having me on your episode of Melting Scot. I work at the John Smith Centre, which is a research centre that's based at the University of Glasgow. And we've just launched the Minority Ethnic Emerging Leaders Programme, which is a leadership and development opportunity for up to 50 young people from minority ethnic backgrounds who will get an opportunity to get some work experience to develop their leadership skills with a host organisation. It's a part-time internship and it'll be 15 hours per week, and it's working within the public sector and that or voluntary or third sector organisations, and we will be hosting them through that, and with that we'll also be providing them with mentors, and they'll be get paid as a placement, a living wage placement for the 9 months throughout the programme. And it's open to 18 to 29-year-olds from across Scotland who come from minority ethnic background. So it's a great opportunity for young people to kind of, take, whether it's a first experience trying to get into the public sector, or maybe it's something that, they're recent graduates and there's something that they're passionate about, and it's just a route through to get into these organisations, which, traditionally can be quite daunting, through the application process. So we are trying to make it as easier, remove the barriers, and really try to target the minority ethnic background people who've maybe not had the same opportunities as people who've gone to university. So we're really trying to target sort of the maybe people that have come from low income backgrounds. Maybe they've left school, but they've got the skills, but they're just waiting for that experience. Or possibly they didn't, their career path's not the way they've wanted to go, and they're looking for a career change. So this is a great opportunity because it's open to 18 to 29-year-olds. So it's quite a broad age range we've kept it. And the reason for that was most young people schemes tend to sort of stop at sort of 24, 25. And I really was passionate about the fact that life experience is different for everybody. Sometimes people be caregivers, they could maybe get married, maybe they become a parent. So all those things can hinder or stop your career. So this way, we wanted to kind of target that, like kind of the gap between sort of the 25, 29, where there isn't anything for them, and they're not quite young people, but they're not quite counted as older in the workforce. So it was just kind of to make it as wide as possible so we can get as many people to benefit from this opportunity.
Yeah, fantastic. There's quite a lot to take in there, and I think people are really excited to find an opportunity like this. I for one, I'm not going to say when I'm growing up because I'm only 24, but I think even like about 10 years ago, this is something that just wasn't in anyone's sort of like radar to provide for ethnic minority young people living within Scotland. So, how did this all come about? How was the process of getting this along? I know the John Smith Centre hasn't been around for very long either. Why is something like this needed as well, do you think?
So the John Smith Centre, like you said, we've been around not very long, just for a few years, but we've been running the Parliamentary Internship Programme, which is, again, it's an internship for people from University of Glasgow. It's only open to students who are in third or fourth year. And initially when that programme started, it was only for like if you were doing politics, and then it got widened out to the college and then to the wider university to apply. Now that was a programme, great opportunity, but you had to be a University of Glasgow student. So that again excluded a lot of people who can't then apply because they're not at the University of Glasgow. Last year, they made the commitment to increase the places. So there's like usually 12 places all in all, 10 for the University of Glasgow, and 2 usually go to through the Robertson Trust, and that's like it's like a scholarship kind of idea. So last year they made a commitment to give 50% of the places to BME people. So and that's the first year that's happened. So that this is like the 5th year of the parliamentary internship. So this is a commitment that we're going to go forward. Now, I think the John Smith Centre realised that this is a great opportunity for these young people to, get this internship experience with politics, but maybe not everybody's interested in working in politics or with an MSP. So this programme was designed to kind of get a wider pool of talent, I guess, to develop and give them that opportunity. So this is why we kind of wanted to create something that was Scottish government funded. There's a need obviously for diversity within the workforce, especially in the public sector. And this is why this programme came about, to kind of let it be open to anyone across Scotland to be able to apply for it as long as they meet the minimal eligibility criteria.
Yeah, I mean, I came across to like my next question kind of. So it's definitely like, although it's based in the University of Glasgow, so it's not only students from the University of Glasgow that need to apply, but also it's anybody from across Scotland can apply for this as well. So anybody up in Aberdeen or Inverness and things like that. So you don't need to be Glasgow based. So
no, we don't. You don't have to be. Although we are anticipating that we understand like the minority ethnic populations will be Central Belt, kind of Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Inverness, they're the kind of where the hubs are. Glasgow's probably where the most of the sort of, the BME population seems to reside, but, it's open to anyone within Scotland. Our host organisations as well are a mixture between the Central Belt. We do have like a couple from like Aberdeen, but we are, because of with COVID, it being remote, it'll actually make it a little bit easier. So it means someone from Aberdeen who's applying could actually be working for an organisation that's in Glasgow. That wouldn't have been possible if, we had to come into an office. Then we would have been matching them and putting them into internships in their local areas.
Right. I mean, could you tell us, you said it's either going to be a placement for people if they're successful at a volunteer organisation, a third sector organisation, or at an MSP's or MP's office as well. Can you tell us about some of the volunteer organisations or third sector organisations who've signed up, or is that confidential right now?
Yeah, no, we've got a list of some of them. We've got a graphic up on our website, so if you go onto our website, you'll have a look at some of the signs, the confirmed hosts that have signed up. We've actually had an overwhelming response when the programme got launched. And we've had actually a bit of a waiting list of actually organisations that wanted to join, but we were full because we only need 50 placements. So some of the names we've got like Save the Children, we've got British Red Cross, we've got the Mental Health Foundation, we've got Glasgow City Council, we've got Scottish Government, Scottish Parliament. So there's quite a lot of big organisations, One Parent Family Scotland. So it depends on what kind of area. We're trying to keep it quite broad, and so that it appeal to quite a lot of young people. So it's not like you don't just need to be in one sector. So we've got like children's charities, we've got women's rights, we've got mental health. So there's different categories, environment, climate change. So it depends on whatever you're passionate about. We'll try to match you to one of the organisations that are on our host. But we've had a fantastic response so far.
And could you just kind of take me through the application process? So if I'm a young person listening right now and I wanted to get involved in this program, so it's the deadline's the July 19th, right, which is relatively soon. And the application process, what is it that is expected from me? Is it like, specific or experience already, or what is it that you're looking for?
So if you go onto our website, you can download the application pack, and that'll tell you all the kind of essential desirable criteria we're looking for and the minimal eligibility criteria. Now, mainly what we're looking for is people from minority ethnic backgrounds, aged between 18 and 29. The minimum qualification that we require is a National 5 in English or equivalent, and they must have the right to live and work and reside in the UK for the duration of the programme. So on the application form, it's an online application, and we're just basically asking everyone to read through the application pack and really think about all the examples that you've got from your personal work, professional kind of educational kind of areas of your life where you've maybe gained some of the skills that we're looking for, and use them in the application. We've created some resources that are again on the website. So there's a video about how to fill in a good application. So it kind of gives you something all kind of common sense sort of tips and how to kind of put in a good application through. And just about taking your time and reading things through and making sure you're answering the question to the best of your ability, and really kind of sell yourself, but using all experiences within your life. So it could be, for example, you've done community work, you were involved in a society at school or at college or university, and you organized events. So, these are all skills that can be transferable. And it's just about making sure you really take the time to think and not rush the application. and just look as if you can meet all the desirable criteria, because you will be working in a professional organisation, and it is over a 9-month period, so it's quite a long period of time. And we are hoping that the host organisations are going to be getting involved in specific pieces of work for these interns to get put their input, but also see the end of that project through. So we really are looking for a set criteria that they must meet in order to be successful to the interview stage, and then hopefully getting onto the placement.
Yeah, and you spoke about obviously the professional skill set and also when applying, and also using examples from that background. I mean, if you're like a 19 or 20-year-old, you're in your first year, second year university now, and also it's been COVID and things like that. I mean, I think a lot of people might not think that they have the skill set to apply for something like this, but I mean, I'm sure I know what the answer is, but I mean, you wouldn't discourage anybody from applying, right? I mean, if you've never really worked within anything that's really to do with, I mean, you've spoken about some pretty large organizations there. If you've not worked with third sector organizations like that before because you're a young person, you're interested in that, I mean, that's the sort of person you're looking for, right? Somebody who hasn't had experience within that area, but wants to have it. So if they're applying for this and they can't really think of examples, I mean, what sort of, do they have the passion for it? What advice would you give to them?
It's really about maybe researching and just make use of the resources that we've created. And like I said, it's just really thinking about the skills that you've developed. So it could be like, for example, like with COVID, everyone's learned the new skill of using Zoom, or MS Teams, Microsoft Teams, and young people are generally very good with technology anyway. They probably grasp it so much faster than the older generation. So it's about just thinking about that and then putting that as a transferable skill and say, well, actually, I learned this during COVID. So you could have actually learned so many skills during the pandemic because people had time and we've had to change our way of working. So it's just about maybe thinking about areas, for example, you might have a family business which you help out on a Saturday with your parents. Maybe you're not getting paid for it, you're just doing it as a job, but that's actually an experience because you could be managing the tills, you could be budgeting, you could be doing stock taking, you could be doing the logistics of it, without realizing. So it's just about really, really thinking about, actually, this is a skill that I'm learning. You could be a single parent, for example, and you're managing everything, and again, people don't look at the skill there, but you're budgeting, you're time managing. So it's all those kind of skills. It's just about really thinking about that. University students, have got the experience of working to a deadline. They have to submit when they're doing a group assignment or whether it's a dissertation. So again, it's that drawing into that skill set of how did you manage your time? How did you break up your tasks? And it's just things like that. So a lot of it's just, it'll take a bit of time and requirement. And what I would say the best thing is get a bit of paper and just write down your sort of examples and look at things that you're proud of that you've achieved so far. So they could be things that I successfully set up a club or an event for a charity, or I did a fundraiser for, or I did a 5-mile walk, and I raised money for it. So these are all skills and these are things that can be used in your application form. So really kind of dig deep and think about all the areas you can put in, and that's the best way. But like I said, first step would be really use the resources that are already on the website. And if there's still any questions you're unsure about, please get in touch.
Yeah, and I think something that I think is that I need to say to all young people is, like, I went through this whole process myself of being involved in like the youth parliament and some other organisations like that, which is where I ended up with the skill set of what the John Smith Centre is trying to teach to ethnic minority young people through the Minority Ethnic Emerging Leadership Programme. And essentially, if you have somewhere in your mind where you want to go, I mean, it's about taking the first step and having, I think something like this is fantastic because it's literally taking you on your first steps, and 9 months later, you'll be unrecognizable in terms of the skill set that you'll have, the experience that you have, the network you have, the vision and the understanding of the working world and this new sort of place in life that you might want to look into. I mean, you might be thinking to yourself, for example, I studied mechanical engineering, but I ended up in politics. And I think that's because I've had the exposure of what that world looked like. And if I didn't, then through the youth parliament, things like that, if I didn't, then also I wouldn't end up here. And it was just about getting involved in youth work projects and things like that. And I think something like this, which has a formal structure to it, is very important because it allows for people to really see what there is amongst the whole aspect of the program, like leadership. There's wider aspects to community that we don't really focus on 100% of the time. So would you encourage like applicants who don't come from a specific social science background to apply for something like this as well? I mean, I know it sounds very political or third sector sort of thing. Sounds like something social science students might be doing. What's your thoughts and opinions on that?
No, absolutely. We're open for applications from anybody who's interested in public service. Now, that's the main aim. So we don't have placements for people who want to work in the public private sector, for example, like law or banking. So if that's the kind of career path you're thinking of going, then this probably isn't the right program, although it would help in terms of developing the skill sets of leadership, but it wouldn't give you that experience if that's what you're looking for. So what I would say is, you know, it's about thinking about, do you want to get involved in the public sector? Because we are very underrepresented in the public sector. There's not enough diversity within like local housing or the local authority councils and or these charity organizations, you know. So it's really about this program is not just about the internship. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, oh, it's just about getting the work experience. We're built in a lot of other aspects to the program. So like they'll be getting an allocated mentor who will guide them through the journey of the 9 months and hopefully beyond, because they can build out a relationship. It'll be an opportunity to open up networks, you know, by meeting other, you know, the other 50 people that will be on this program. But also there'll be opportunities through the John Smith Centre, because you'll get to join the alumni network. You'll be part of that for life. You know, so any employability opportunities, we will be, you know, putting them forward to all the people that are on this program. So it's actually, it's not just a work experience. You'll actually be getting your personal development, which is, like I said, part of that is going through the application process. And I know people hate going through that, but it's like, if you want to get somewhere, you have to put in the work. Nothing ever comes for free. So it's just about, you know, look at the whole program, you know, like read it through. It's just, you know, it's so much more you're gaining, and leadership skills, you know, it's not something that you'll learn in 9 months. It's something that you'll continue to build on, work on. And some of these young people might already have that natural flair to be a leader. And we want the host organizer to nurture that and, you know, give them the opportunity to, you know what, let's see what this young person's capable. My ambition for it is that, you know, the host organization loves their interns so much because they shine so bright and they're so brilliant that they actually keep them on as a full-time person at the end, you know. But that's again up to the young person to really make the most of the opportunity and not just treat it as, you know, it's just work experience and I'm just, because they're not going to just be doing photocopying or admin and just, you know, jobs for the sake of it for the 9 months. I've really worked hard to make sure the host organizations understand that this is about developing the leadership, and we really want them to be involved in a meaningful project, you know, something that they can see the result of, you know, and they've participated and kind of shaped. So it's really important, you know, to have that all very clear for your motivations for applying.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds exactly the sort of thing that we need. I mean, I work within politics as well, and I've seen the lack of representation within the workforce working within local authorities. I mean, when I became a councillor, it took me about 2 years before I'd actually met an ethnic minority person that worked at the council, and also I was there every single week. There definitely is at senior levels or even just mid-level, I'm aware of the lack of representation within the public sector, also on third sector boards, also within the charitable organisations that don't specifically work with ethnic minorities. There's quite a lot of diversity and inclusion that's required, because quite clearly across like Scotland, there isn't that voice that's being heard and that nuance in opinion. And I think it's excellent what you've been saying here in terms of the mentors being brought on board, because those are the sort of people that can open doors going ahead and say to people that, you know, this is somebody who's capable, who's understanding, who has a different perspective, and who works hard. And above and beyond that, I think the aspect you've spoken about, the network. I mean, a lot of the programs that I've been on, I mean, you take the experience and you take the work experience and you take all the value that you get from the experience itself, but ultimately what extends with you as the part that's important, that stays with you, is the network that you make. I mean, I've had multiple opportunities from having just met one person from a program, and they just hit me up with a different opportunity, and that's led to another 10 opportunities, quite frankly, like another 10 opportunities. So I think it can't really be overestimated how much benefit there is to be part of an alumni network like this. And 100%, I think there's something that I've been reflecting over the last few days, and is some conversations I've had with the director of the John Smith Centre itself, Kezia Dugdale, and also Anna Server, who's involved in politics as well. And the aspect of there's quite a lot that still needs to be changed within politics and the third sector, and people at the highest levels are doing that to create opportunities like this, such as the Johnson Centre, which Kezia Dugdale has been a part of. But it is up to the young people to take that opportunity with both their hands and say, you know what, this is something that we could use. And even if you can't see where the road's going to take you, there is a pathway there. There is a route towards a successful career, and this is just the first step. And there are people here who have that ability and who have had those experiences, who are able to take you down that road and be able to show you what is truly capable and within your career. Because obviously a lot of the people that, as you've said, that you're looking to apply should be come from low socioeconomic backgrounds, who come from an ethnic minority background, who may not have those mentors, may not have parents who can help them out with like cover letters and CVs, sometimes who may not have people who can tell them about what's the correct way to do an interview and things like that. But I guess through this process of what's happening with the Johnson Centre is that a lot of the application process just shows a lot of passion and ability for the role, as long as they can showcase that they're capable for the opportunity. And from there, I think it's going to be truly amazing that in a year's time from now, we'll have 50 ethnic minority young people who've been through this whole selection process. And I think it's something that's never been run before within Scotland. And it's incredibly, incredibly exciting for me to see this happen. So I'm not sure if there's anything else you'd like to cover, Nosheen. Do you think that's a good overview of it, or is there anything else that you think that we should cover?
No, I think we've pretty much covered most of it. I think the point about the mentors was, I think you mentioned a really good point about, that is going to be about their opening up doors, and the part of the mentoring is the development. Part of the program is their personal development will be done through the mentor. And what I'm hoping, and again, my ambition for that is to get BME mentors, because if you look like them and they can see the journey they've been through, they can guide them and help them. Like you said, if this program had been around 10 years ago, for all the young people then, they would have could have benefited, but they are now in a position where they would love something like this, but they're too old to apply for this program. So it's really about making the most of the mentor sessions as well. And I am looking for more people who from BME backgrounds who would like to maybe mentor and give back, because they've kind of got the skill set and experience that kind of, it's almost like why reinvent the wheel when you've got knowledge there. It's about sharing and peer support, and I think we all need to work together and pass on that and knowledge. But also it's about, like you said, changing the landscape. We need to be visible, and we are visible, but sometimes in the wrong way. But where we need to be visible, we're either not, we're not in those places like the boards, we're not in enough in politics or third sector organisations. This is where we need to be visible, and we need to take up the space and be able to say, well, we're just as competent and capable, look past the colour of our skin, and I think that's really, really important. But if we're not in that place, if we don't put ourselves out there, nothing's going to change. So there is an onus on us to take the opportunities when they come, but also, use your voice, and like platforms like this, it's good to have these discussions, and get involved. And I think for young people, it's really important if they can get onto boards of, I know it's voluntary and, you don't get paid for these things, but that's the kind of thing that's going to help with your career progression. And you'll learn so much, from just being a board member, for example, and it's just about take the opportunity and networking. You don't know what door is going to open you and lead you to another path, and there is no wrong path either. You might think I want to do a career in politics, but you end up doing something completely different, and that's okay. It's all part of learning and evolving and developing, and it's about making sure that you're always continually making the effort to develop. You're just because you're a leader, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point to end on. That's a process, and this is the beginning of the process. And just to cover on that last point, obviously you're saying that one of the middle points that you don't get paid for board positions, but you will be getting paid for this national living wage, which is fantastic. But the deadline for the applications is July the 19th. Is that correct? Yeah. And I would thoroughly encourage everyone to get involved. Nosheen definitely wants the most amount of applications at the highest standard, so we can make this year a success. And I guess we'll stay in touch, perhaps have another conversation halfway down the line when maybe the mentors are chosen, to see what the next steps and aspirations are. But incredibly thankful for you to be on here today, Nosheen, and yeah, all the best of luck with it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Right.